Good evening, One Love family. Welcome to our Midweek Connection. I am, as always, honored to be with you and to journey along with all of you in this constant unfolding of our true, essential essence, our divinity, constantly merging a little more with our humanity. It's not always easy as that happens because many of us, and we'll talk about this a little bit this evening, I'd like to share some of my thoughts, some of the things that have been kind of going on within me internally over the last month and a half, 2 months, have intensified a lot more over the last 10 to 14 days. And I'd like to share with you what I feel like is kind of being pushed to the surface for me in regards to essence, in regards to our authentic and true identity, who we really are as beings. And I've written a few things down this evening that I'd just like to share with you. And I would like to go over a couple of scenarios maybe to pull this together, some things that we can sort of use as imagery for moving this forward. And I want to utilize this evening, by the way, I want to utilize this quote from Muji that really unearths a lot of things inside of me, has unearthed a lot of things inside of me, and maybe will help with some of the content of this evening as we look at the subjective and the objective, what is our true essence and what is fleeting and temporary, and how I feel about that, how I feel about what it means to be on a spiritual journey, what it means to be spiritual, what it means to be awakened spiritually. Muji said this: the place you're looking for is in the place from which you are looking. I'll say this: the peace you're looking for is in the place from where you are looking. In other words, your subjective self is your true self, not the objective self. I'll put it forward to you this way. If I showed you a picture, 3 different pictures, and they're different pictures, I show you all 3 of them, and you see the different images. The pictures change, but the one who is seeing does not. That's the subjective self. The object is the picture. I show you a picture of you at 5, show you a picture of you at 55. The only thing that changed was the object, not the subject. The true self is the one who can see yourself at 5 and 55. You're the seer, you're the witness, you're the observer. I believe our spiritual journey is to become keenly aware of that to such a degree that we get ourselves free from identifying with things that are temporary. What's temporary is this temple, this body temple. And often we identify too much with, for instance, for me, I'm a 46-year-old, middle-aged, Caucasian, American-born male. And it's not that it's wrong to see that role that I'm playing. It's not about being right or wrong, but it's about being too enslaved to whatever that temporary identity is, so identified with it that I can't possibly imagine living without it. This is one of the reasons that people fear death. Michael Singer, I love the way he says that death is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Why would we fear it? We're afraid of it because we identify too much with the externals. We identify too much with the object, and we're not as deeply in love with the subject of who we are, our true essence. So I wanted to talk a little bit this evening about true essence. Because if you got out of the shower and you stood in front of a mirror naked, and you stood there for 15 minutes as a male or a female, we'll say in my case as a male, and what if right before my eyes, my entire body mutated into being a female body. What would be the difference? The only difference would be the anatomy, but the true me, who I really am, my I amness, would still be the same, would still be the same soul. And it is the soul. You are more importantly than your physical body, which is deteriorating at a rapid scale if you look at it in terms of linear time. It's deteriorating always. You know, they say that once you're born, you start to die. And you're regenerating. This body temple, this object is regenerating every 7 years. You're not the same person that you were in 2017 as we sit here now in 2014. You have shifted and changed. We shift and change so much that we're always scratching and pulling and always moving about because we're shifting. Even most of us are not even comfortable in our own skin. Many of us are not comfortable with who we are. We are trying so much to be what other people think we should be that most of us live our entire life as an imposter in our own life because we think we have to be something else or someone else. And I know I talk about this a lot, but it really is becoming so much more clear to me as I move through the own processes of my own insecurities that I've had about my objective self. And I move more toward a subjective reality where I'm getting the main thing, I'm making the main thing in my life. And these other things just become minor things. And I believe that when we align with our true essence, our true self, then the other minor things will actually follow suit. And I kind of see the main thing in my life, who I am truly, as the Pied Piper. You know the old story about the Pied Piper that led all the rats out of the city? The Pied Piper, who is going to bring everything else into alignment, is our true self. One of the reasons that many of us spend our life out of alignment and in a consistent state of chaos, dis-ease, discouragement, pain, suffering, is because we don't truly discover who our true self is. This is why Jesus, the Master, said you must be born again so that you can see it. Being born again is his way of saying shift in consciousness. To become enlightened, to become more aware of your true essence. And this is why there are spiritual teachers and speakers and preachers and pastors and priests and imams and rabbis and monks throughout the ages encouraging us to step up into a higher realm of being, to find our true essence. And so I wrote it down this way. The divine essence within you is like a gentle whisper. It's always present and guiding you towards your true essence and your true purpose. It's like a warm embrace comforting you in the times of need and reminding you of your inner strength, the subjective one, the observer, the witness. But let's go back to the divine essence is like a gentle whisper. Do you remember in the Bible where it says, God speaks with a still small voice? That is that essence that's within you. Your inner divine essence is a gentle whisper in your soul reminding you, I'm here, and I'm here to guide you and direct you through life's ups and downs toward your true purpose, your dharma, the unfolding of your true self. When you tap into this divine energy, you actually start to feel a sense of connection. Dr. Wayne Dyer called it conscious contact. You make conscious contact to something that's greater than the objective self, that's greater than the temporary self, that's greater than the human experience that existed in the eternal before time was ever a thing. I mean, just think about that for just a moment. You existed in the heart mind of the pure presence, the source, God. If we use that term, some people it triggers them. But the source essence, the pure essence from which everything came to be. You existed as an idea in the heart of the divine before time was ever stamped on your body function. So when you tap into that divine and you do it on a regular basis, you start to feel a deep sense of connection with something that is greater than the objective self. And I believe it starts to fill us with a deep sense of peace and joy. It reminds us that we are never alone on this journey that we call our life. And so I know I'm going through right now personally. I'm going through another level of transcendence, another level of transformation, and I'm experiencing that right now. And it has its own sort of frustration to it. I wish I could explain it a little better, but the only thing that's really keeping me hanging on to my sound mind is knowing that I'm getting a deeper connection now. I'm moving toward a deeper conscious contact with that divine essence that's within me, who's walking along with me on this journey called life. As the song says, and he walks and she walks with me and talks with me and tells me I am her own. And in my case, the masculine essence within me says I am his own. I know that source presence is within me, working for me, working with me, through me, and endeavoring to show up more than ever as me. True essence being the one taking the lead. As you navigate through those ups and downs in this life, remember that you are a divine being with the power to create the life you desire. But you may go through these ebbs and flows of the valley of the shadow of death. This is maybe what it means when the psalmist says, I go through the valley of the shadow of death and I fear no evil. You know, St. Paul said the last enemy that you face is death. He didn't say you had to die physically to face that enemy. It could become less of an enemy and more of a friend if you would realize that, as again Michael Singer would say, death is a once-in-a-lifetime grand finale experience. And instead of looking at it as a bad thing, you know, it's like Wayne Dyer did a whole teaching one time on talking about dying before you die. Am I able to get to the place where I can die before I die? Because if I do, I might find the highest level of freedom. So maybe the last enemy that you face is death means simply that you can look at death and say, you're really not that big of a deal. You're just a doorway. In fact, I'll call you my butler, my doorman for the rest of my existence on this planet. Because I know that when the time comes for me to unzip this skin suit, you're going to usher me in a kind, compassionate way with a smile on your face and a smile and a grin on my face. You're going to usher me in to the next iteration. Knowing this gives us the ability, I think, to navigate the ups and the downs of life, because we then can really, truly live. We can learn to create the life that we desire. So trust your intuition. I was talking with someone very close to me today about trusting their intuition. Trust your intuition and listen to that inner guidance system, that voice. You have before there was a GPS on a phone, there was a GPS inside of our souls. God's presence surrounding us. The GPS within. God's presence surrounding us. That inner guidance is already within you. So listen to that inner voice and allow the divine energy that's within you to lead the way for you. Instead of being a slave to the externals, instead of being a slave even to the present moment and the feelings of what it is we're experiencing, get back into that true essence. Go through these exercises if you have to. You know, again, what would change tomorrow about the true reality of me if I all of a sudden was a female instead of a male? If I all of a sudden was, I'll put it to you this way, and I've heard this example, I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly who said it, but you know, these days doctors can remove limbs from the body and you still be living. So they could remove both of your arms, both of your legs, and who would still be there? Your true essence would, which means the body is just an object. I'm not saying that we destroy it, but I am saying that we put it in its rightful place. The body is the object. My true essence, is the subject. And if everything about me deteriorated tomorrow from an objective standpoint, from an object standpoint, my subjective self would just live on in a different iteration. This is how I've dealt with the passing of Bishop Pearson. And my psyche is still dealing with it at times, because during this time of transition that we've been in, physically, emotionally, I've wanted to call him so many times and just hear his voice so that it could calm me. But the way I've dealt with his passing, his transitioning, is I know that he's just another iteration at this time. But his true subjective self, which I was in love with and connected to deeply, is still with me, is still in the energy field, and it's able to be contacted. So embrace your divine nature fully. That is the spiritual journey. That's the essence of really about everything probably that I share, is that we fully embrace through loving awareness our divine nature. See it as the unique and the beautiful gift that it is. It is the thing that makes you unique. And when you become aware, when you live in the awareness of this truth, you become a unique individual in this planet, because so many people are going through life sleepwalking. I call it the walking dead. Sleepwalking through life. Essentially have become, what was it on The Walking Dead? What were those things called? They're called zombies. Walking through life as a zombie. Just eating whatever's in sight, devouring whatever's going on, living unhealthily, completely just devouring the death of the world instead of living in the true awakened awareness. So be one of those who has awakened from the Walking Dead experience. Let your light shine bright so that it can illuminate your inner world. Don't dim your light for anyone else. Let your light shine bright, and, by the way, it will then illuminate the world around you. You are a masterpiece. I wrote this down, and I wrote it down. It was coming from me, but I think it was coming for you all. Please hear me when I say this. You are a masterpiece. You are a work of art created by the divine. You are so valuable and so worthy. And when you embrace your true essence, watch the miracle of that masterpiece and that piece of art unfold before your eyes, but before the eyes of the rest of the world too. Your craziness, your over the topness, your beauty, the world needs. If it didn't need it, you wouldn't be here in this time. The world needs you to be fully you, for you to be fully alive. The glory of God, the glory of the source is when we are fully alive, fully embracing who we are and unfolding fully into who we're supposed to be. I mean, just imagine a bunch of roses that are unwilling to untangle themselves and expose the beauty of who they are. I mean, a rose in its rolled up form is nice. It's beautiful too. It has a nice smell to it. But when it unfolds and unfurls itself, its fragrance is even more fragrant. Its fragrance is even more profound, and its beauty is even more profound. Don't be afraid to completely bloom and blossom into your true self. Don't dim your light because you're afraid you'll be too bright for other people. Do not tamper down and live small in your essence of your divinity. Live fully. Some people may feel intimidated. Some people might be put off by it. Oh well. Let them deal with that in their own self. Roll out your true essence. Unfold fully as you're intended to be, because you are a masterpiece. You are an absolute beautiful work of art. Everything that you were intended to become was planted within you before you ever arrived here, because you are soul essence connected to the divine, and you were sent here to shine in your own way. So in closing, number one, the essence of the divine is a powerful frequency, and it's within each individual. That spark is within you. Number two, we are all manifestations of this divine energy. Every single person you come in contact with is. Number three, realizing your true nature as divine unlocks your limitless possibility and potential. Number four, we are spiritual beings navigating the material world. We're not material beings navigating the spiritual world. We've had that the opposite. We are spiritual beings navigating a material world. That's another way. Basically, Dr. Wayne Dyer said we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're the opposite. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I like to say that same thing. We are human. We are not just human beings having an eternal spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having having a human expression and experience. I think I said that right. Maybe not. We are spiritual beings navigating a material world. Number 5, we have the power to consciously create our reality. Let's get about doing that. Through living our subjective true essence instead of living from the objective. Don't let the objective determine what you're going to do as the subject. You're the subject. Get the main thing first, and the minors will fall into place. Number 6, embrace the magnificence of your cosmic and eternal nature. Embrace it fully. As you do, it will unfold. Number 7, trust in the power within you to transform your inner world and to then affect transformation in the world around you. This is what happens when we all begin to live our true, eternal, divine essence. And so it is. So I'm going to read that line once again that I actually wrote it a couple of days ago and then edited it a little bit today. And it's this: the divine essence within you is like a gentle whisper, always present and guiding you towards your true purpose. It is like a warm embrace, comforting you in times of need and reminding you of your inner strength. Listen to that inner voice. Allow that divine essence to flow forward. Once again, I ask you the question: if I placed before you 3 photographs, three different pictures, showed you each one, what would change? Would the seer change or just the scenery change? The scenery would change, but the seer is still the same one, still the same essence. At 5 and at 55, your true essence remains, while the object has changed. Get into a deep relationship with the true self. Become the witness and the observer. Learn to live from that space, and I believe it'll give you a much more fulfilling life. All right, friends, I told you I wouldn't hold you for very long this evening. I love you very much. I look forward to seeing you. We're in our gratitude meditation this week. We're totally immersed in gratitude. Please continue to practice that attitude. Remember, an attitude is a set or a settled and a consistent way of behaving. And that's what's important with gratitude. We all know gratitude's important, but are we willing to have a set and consistent way of showing up, behaving in the world with our gratitude? I encourage you to consider doing that. Also, I encourage you this evening to consider giving in the offering. The ways to give will be on the screen. Our new address for the mail-in is going to be coming up, should be up by this weekend, but it's a new office address instead of the P.O. Box. So keep your eyes open for that. And if you give by way of the P.O. Box on a regular basis, and I know a couple of you do, just be aware that that's about to change. I love you all very much. I hear the music getting started. Now go and make it a great day, because you